But we start this hour here. The North Gauteng High Court has dismissed former President Jacob Zuma's bid for leave to appeal a personal cost order against him in the state capture review case. That's according to the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution. While he was president, Zuma had attempted to have the public protector's remedial action to set up a state capture inquiry set aside. When it failed, the court ordered he personally pay the costs. After Cyril Ramaphosa became president, he withdrew the appeal from the presidency's side. Zuma will now have to pay for the matter in his personal capacity. All right, let's hear now from the Democratic Alliance's chairperson of the Federal Council, James Self, who joins us now on the line. James, so this was a matter where you were part of the people that had an interest in the outcome of this. This is the outcome you wanted, right?
Yeah, we entered the court case because we believed that it was absolutely outrageous that the president could simply ignore the remedial action of the public protector. We believed that he had a duty to comply with that remedial action, and we believed that his argument that only a president could set up a commission of inquiry was quite baseless. Then at the very last minute, the president, as he was then, withdrew his application, thus wasting the time of the court and of the legal counsel appearing for ourselves. And that is why we asked for a personal and punitive cost order against Mr. Zuma, and we are delighted that the court has dismissed his appeal, because this should serve as a salutary lesson to cabinet members and senior government officials that they need to do their duty, whatever that duty is, rather than to try and avoid that duty by engaging in senseless litigation.
So what are some of the reasons that the court has given, if you've had a chance to get a glimpse of, the summary perhaps of why the court has reached this particular conclusion?
Well, we are still examining the court judgment as we speak. I got it about 10 minutes ago, but it would appear to us that the court had very little patience with the former president's delaying tactics and found that his case had very little merit. So we will study the judgment carefully and in due course issue a fuller statement.
So now if he's having to pay from, in his personal account, James, what are we looking at here in terms of the costs? Certainly, let's say from your side, because I know there were many parties that had an interest in this particular matter, and each were represented by senior counsel, sometimes working with junior counsel, and a whole host of other legal people that were involved in that process. Certainly.
Look, in our case, the legal bills would have amounted to about 250,000 rands. That's probably a conservative estimate. And as you say, there were a number of other parties that were either litigants in the first instance or intervening parties. So I imagine that the bill in total, with the state's costs as well, is likely to be considerable, probably in excess of 2 or 3 million rands.
And this comes at a time when you, as the DA and other political parties, are challenging the presidency in as far as the kind of agreement that is in place for the costs of the legal costs of the former president's court cases to be funded. How much of a difficult spot does it put him in, or do you not care at all about that?
Well, really what any president needs to do is to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the Republic, and we are engaged in that other litigation because we believe that the state attorney was not entitled to pay Jacob Zuma's legal bills in the case where he was facing criminal charges because they had absolutely nothing to do with the office that he held. It's one thing if you are being sued or being prosecuted in your official capacity, but that particular case, which involved corruption and money laundering and fraud, had nothing to do with Jacob Zuma either as an MEC for economic development or the deputy president or the president. They had to do with him in his personal capacity.
So I'm wondering, if you get what you want in as far as the application for the agreement with the state attorney and government to pay his legal costs in the cost of his representation in the corruption cases is granted, if you get that outcome plus this outcome, are you not concerned that there could be an argument that is then raised at a particular point that says, well, the right for him to be well represented, ably represented, has been somewhat jeopardized? Are you not anticipating that he could put up that argument? Remember, this is a man who had to get a loan from VBS to pay back the 7.8 million rand that he was ordered to pay.
Yeah. Look, everybody in South Africa is entitled to legal representation, but you can get legal representation from the Legal Aid Board. And in this particular case, there was a double jeopardy here, because not only did the former president get his legal bills paid or conducted or paid for by the state attorney, but the state attorney didn't act for him itself. The state attorney paid Jacob Zuma's private attorney and private advocate. Now, nothing in our law allows that. That is completely illegal. And what I suspect happened is that the former president, much as he did in Kandla, said, I want my costs paid, and the state attorney said, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, we'll do that. And that is very, very wrong, and it sets a very bad precedent, because you can imagine that if the state capture report is adopted eventually, there will be any number of cabinet members and senior government officials who are going to claim their personal legal costs at the expense of the state. And that is both undesirable, illegal, and unsustainable.
All right, thank you so much for that. That is the DA's James Self responding to the outcome from the North Gauteng High Court, which has turned down Jacob Zuma's application for leave to appeal the personal costs order relating to his attempt to have the state of capture report of the public protector reviewed and set aside. Let's get you